I think Kevin Cheveldayoff is one of the most underrated GMs in the NHL. Like, when you look at what he's been able to do for Winnipeg, his entire tenure with this club, all the trades, all the draft picks, I think he's done a fantastic job at assembling what is the Winnipeg Jets. And, you really look at the strengths of this team, and there's so many. But with the Samberg injury that happened earlier, about a month ago or whatever it's been now, where he injured his foot, he broke his foot, blocking a shot from Steven Stamkos. And, ever since that has happened, the Jets defense has kind of begun to crumble. It's still playing, they're still winning games, they're still making the plays that they need to, but without a doubt, the loss of Dylan Samberg cannot be understated. And, with the fact that we almost saw Josh Morrissey potentially go out with an injury as well in that game against the Predators the other day, where thankfully it looks like he will be, he's feeling better and he may even practice tomorrow. He has not been ruled out for the game on Friday, which is great. So, you also love to see that. And the fact that we're seeing Samberg come back as well, getting that news that Samberg will be back for Friday, is huge because, like I was saying, Samberg is important to this club. I think, honestly, outside of Morrissey, and even more so than DeMello, I think that Samberg is the second most important defenseman on this club behind Josh Morrissey. I really believe that. I think that when you look at what Samberg's been able to do, his career, his development, the Jets have always believed in this guy. And the Jets have done a really good job, honestly, at letting him grow his game. His whole development, I think, has been pretty well handled, and you're really starting to see him start to shine now with the Jets and what he's been able to do. Every year he's gotten better, and you look at his analytics this year, he's been very, very important to this club's success, in my opinion, as well as Neil Pionk's success. Neil Pionk is having a career year this year, partially based on his chemistry with Dylan Samberg. They're really, playing well together. Dylan Samberg is really, meshing well and finding his game defensively, and he's been a lot more responsible and reliable and consistent, and he may not make the flashy plays like Pionk does, but like I said, I think that he really is that important to this club. Like, Pionk makes a lot of defensive mistakes, even though his offense cannot be understated, but defensively and structurally, Samberg is so important to this club, and we're seeing that now, and the fact that he's going in, this is a contract year for Samberg as well. He's going to be an RFA, so we have a lot more team control over than Pionk. But we're still going to have to sign this guy, and he's probably going to get a pay increase from that $1.4 million because he's, like I said, he's gotten better every year since he signed that. And I think this year he's really cementing himself as a top 4 defenseman. Like I said, I don't know if you're going to put him as a legit number 2, but I think he's really finding himself to be a legit second pair defenseman, a 3-4. And like I said, this is a guy the Jets have believed in forever. We drafted this guy out of high school in the second round, which it was crazy that year. I believe 7 players were drafted out of high school in that 2017 draft, but we drafted him 43rd overall in the second round, and he's developed he's been one of those underrated guys. That's the best way to describe Samberg. Like, he was just unsigned playing for Minnesota for a long time. He spent 3 years in Minnesota, and he wasn't signed to a contract, which, that's kind of why I feel like he was underrated. And he had a very successful junior career, NCAA champion winner, and not to mention his World Junior career, winning a bronze and a silver with Team USA, and being a very important member of those medal-winning teams. Like, his development path has been every level he's played at, similar to Ville Heinola, honestly, except he hasn't had that NHL impact yet, has been fantastic. When he finally played with the Moose and signed his NHL contract, he only ended up playing 64 games for the Moose, but he was really important on those Moose, and in those 64 games, he showed this organization just how NHL ready he already was. And he made his debut pretty quickly, playing 15 games there, but his Moose tenure, I think, is kind of underrated. Like, he was really impactful with that Moose team. Like when you look back at that core of guys that were on the Moose at that time, when Samberg was there as well, Jonathan Kovacevic was there, you had Ville Heinola, Ville Heinola was there? Yeah, Ville Heinola would have been there. You've had Dylan Samberg played with Declan Chisholm, who I think they were fantastic together, had a lot of chemistry. Really liked that pairing on the Moose. Hope to one day see it potentially with the Jets. And his what he was able to really do, like I said, was show how good he already was. Like, a lot of fans didn't know that much about his game. Like I said, playing in the U.S., playing in college, you don't see that much highlights in Canada unless you really go out there to find them. So, pretty much, he came out of nowhere for a lot of fans. It's like, oh, we signed a second-round pick from, 3 years ago. Is he any good? And he came into the Moose and really made an impact, and he showed that he was honestly, especially with how weak the defense was back then for the Jets, he showed that he could make it potentially be an NHL player. And when he finally got that opportunity in the NHL, he did not disappoint. He ended up putting up 8 points in his rookie year, but playing extremely well defensively, and also he was so good in his rookie year that he got Calder nominations. He was 10th in Calder voting at one point. That's how underrated Dylan Samberg was in his rookie career, and how honestly he's been his entire career. He has been getting steadily better every year he's played. He's been gaining more responsibility. I already mentioned the chemistry that him and Pionk have found, and they're finally developing well. Getting Samberg into the top 4 this year is huge, and we're really seeing that, and I really like what he's been able to do with Pionk, and I think that when you look at him being out, the lack of defensive accountability and structure that this team has shown is scary, especially for one trying to win a Stanley Cup, because you never know what happens. The playoffs are long and grueling 7-round series where you're going to have to battle every night, and if guys get injured, it happens. So you need that depth to step up, and the Jets' depth this year defensively has stepped up. I'm not saying that they've been bad by any means. I'm not the biggest fan of Logan Stanley. I think that's pretty obvious at this point if you've watched my channel for, I guess even longer than a month. I think I've made 2 videos on him recently, so he's been getting a lot of attention for a reason. He's not been that good. And I think that the big thing with Logan Stanley is that, you can use him as a depth defenseman if you want to make that argument, but the Jets are having to use him in places that he has no right being used in. He's not a second pairing guy. He's not a first pairing defenseman, God forbid, if injury happened to Morrissey there in that last night game. And Hayden Fleury as well. He stepped up really well, but before that injury, and again, depth defenseman though, stepping up. But, Ville Heinola, how much opportunity and trust has the coaching staff, has he earned with the coaching staff? I don't know if he gets a spot, and I know that sounds stupid because I like Ville Heinola and I want him to play and stay, but Arniel has just shown that he trusts certain guys more, and and with Colin Miller now being out for the next 2 weeks with that larynx issue, larynx issue with his throat, it's just crazy. Guy can barely talk and breathe. God, hope he recovers well, but the defensive lack of the accountability shows, and Fleury's skating, he should be back soon, which should be good, but I think what the big thing I want everyone to take away from this, and the thing that I've taken away from this Samberg injury, is just how important he is to this club. And like I said, he's going to need that new contract. He's already making $1.4 million. The Jets are also going to have to go out there with Ehlers as an unrestricted free agent. Pionk is an unrestricted free agent. Velarde is a restricted free agent. Like I've already said, Samberg is a restricted free agent. I'm probably missing some guys in there as well that need to be signed. There is a lot that needs to be done. So, and Pionk as well as an unrestricted free agent. I think I said that, but still, you're going to have to do a lot of evaluating in this year's offseason. And I think that the coaching staff has shown how important and how much they lean on Samberg's defensive play and his accountability, his consistency out there. They really rely on it, in my opinion, and I think it shows in his penalty kill presence cannot be, denied either. Stanley is not that guy. So I think what I'm trying to say is lock up Dylan Samberg. I think this guy could really be a dude that can play solid, impactful minutes for us for a long time. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, peace and positivity as always. Go Jets, go. I'll see you guys in the next one.